All right, I'm going to turn my air on real quick. Move my seat over. Wait for some people to come in. So I tried to go live a little bit ago, and somehow or another, my Wi-Fi disconnected from my phone, and I don't know why. But I got it fixed. So here I am. Let me pull up. All right. Oh, let me wipe my glasses off real quick. All right, so last night we put together the gnome block, and it went great, I thought. Then we decided to go ahead and just do the tree block too. However, that didn't go so well. I don't know what I did, but when I got done and I was putting the rows together while I was live, it was short. It wasn't working out. So I just ended the live because it was getting late, and I recut all the fabric for both trees, because on this mini quilt you need 2 gnome blocks and 2 of the trees. So I've got, it's not the fabric that I originally wanted for the tree, but I think it'll look great. And I recut everything, and what I did this time was I literally went through and put all the pieces together row by row and put it on the back of the fabric and wrote it down. So, and stacked it, so I wouldn't have an issue. Then, because I cut out both blocks at the same time, I went through and I actually made the block. So, oh, tonight's mug, because it's Christmas in July, is my nice until proven naughty. And if my husband is watching, I don't need your comments. Okay? All right, let me wipe my glasses off. I'm still not used to having them. I will try to remember to do this before my lives. If you know of any fun, cute Christmas cups, mugs, leave a comment in my on my community page, and you can post a link if you'd like. You should be able to, and so I can go look at them, because I need some new Christmas mugs. I need new mugs, period. So if you have any cute mugs that you think I would like, you know, dark academia mugs, witchy mugs, dragon mugs, sewing mugs, quilting mugs, you know. All right, so this is the tree that we tried to make. It didn't work. Here's my stat. Oh, and I did find the other gnome block that I had already made. So here they are. This is the one that we made last night. Here's the tree block. Whoopsie. Here's the tree block that I made last night offline. That's how it's supposed to look. And then here's the other gnome block that I made before I went on. So tonight we're going to make the tree block again, and then we're going to add the borders. We're going to sew it all together, add the borders, and sashing. I've got my iron all filled up with water. But first, I want to post links. So, this is a free pattern. So she's got a blog, and in her blog, when you click on the link, there's two links for her blog. One link, the first link is for the gnome, and she literally shows you step by step how to put it together. And then the second link is for the tree block. She does it the same thing. And the fabric requirements that she gives on both blocks are for one block. So remember, you need 2 trees and 2 gnomes. So you need double what is listed on her fabric requirements. And then the third link is for her store. She's selling the pattern for $5. I believe it's $5. And it gives you both directions for the tree and the gnome. And then it also, and the directions for the mini quilt, I believe. And then it also gives you the directions for the entire big quilt that you could turn this into. All right. Well, I really think everybody is in. Becca is still alive, but I was getting tired, so I decided to go ahead and come on. So we're just going to get started. Now, we're going to put this stack to the side because that is all of our borders. Okay. Let me get everything situated here. So the first thing we're going to do is make our HSTs out of our green squares and then our background squares. Now, I know it's a free pattern and I could give out the, technically I could give out the cutting numbers, but I'm not going to because it's a, she's selling the pattern and, I don't want to do that. I want to support other YouTubers and small businesses. So let me go and get the links real quick. And then we'll get started. I have really just messed this up. All right. Oh my goodness. Good news is I got my pain meds today. Bad news is it's making me a little wonky tonight. But what's new? It has been 4 days since I've had my meds, so that's probably why I'm tired. All right. Here's the first link. Here are the first 2 links, I should say. All right. There's those. Those are for the free version of the patterns. One is for the gnome, one is for the tree. Now, the next link is for the actual pattern in her store. There we go. And this will take you directly to her store. Now, she does have other known patterns and other patterns that are free and for sale. I do encourage you to go and look at them. She's got some really cool patterns. This isn't the first one that I've made of hers, and I really do enjoy her patterns. All right. And no, I have not found my phone yet. So we are still on the backup. Now, got to get comfy here. So now we're going to make our, like I said, our HSTs. And we need to make 3 of these for each tree set we're doing, for each block. Oops. But before I do that, because I forgot to mark it, I'm going to lay out my blocks here. Even though the center line is marked, I still like to mark the outer 2 lines. So I'll take my ruler. Let me move this out so maybe y'all can see. Eventually I'll get a second camera, guys. A second camera setup, I should say. Let me know if y'all would rather have the face like this view for a second point of view, or if you would like an overhead point of view. I've been thinking about doing the overhead point of view. So, you know, if you're watching this in the future, yeah, if you're watching this in the future, just leave a comment below the video and let me know which one you like. I know everybody does it different. Okay, so I'm just going to line my 1/4 inch thing right down in the center. And then I'm going to mark a 1/4 inch from the center line on both sides. Using that center line as my point. And I'm just using a regular pencil tonight. And then I'm just going to pin so that my fabric doesn't move at the corner where I'm not going to be sewing. And then at the I need to get some pins. Please hold. Hi. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll do both. All right, let me grab my pins because I forgot it. I moved them. All right. Now you don't have to pin if you're doing HSTs. I just like to. Yeah. That way I have options. Because I think sometimes it's good to have that front view. And then other times it's good to have the other way. I was watching Chris from Rose City Original. Let me tell you, he is doing some things. I am happy for him. I am happy about his quilt store. I hope to one day get to go to it. But I love his setup. He's got the overhead setup. Yep. And then he's got his right here where the needle is. He's got it where he's like you would go with a GoPro. Oh, jealous. And then so he can adjust it to get a better view of the Like he's got a GoPro, a couple of different GoPro setups over here that combine. And so I was thinking of doing that as a frontal view because I'm not sure I want it on me, but having it on the machine might be good. All right. You know, it might help if I make my marks. I completely forgot about doing this beforehand. And yes, I have a 1/4 inch foot, but you know, and I can do them both ways. It's just something about having that line to sew on. It makes it so much better. Where's my other one? There's 1, 2. I'm missing one. Uh-oh. All right. Well, there's 1, 2. Now I got to find the other one because it's missing. Oh, here it is. I got it. Silly me. He seems really great. He seems to be a really great guy. And he seems to really enjoy what he does. You know, I wish I had the AccuQuilt just so I could do the things, some of his stuff that he does with the AccuQuilt, like his skeleton. But I have both a scan and cut and a Cricut. So technically, I don't need it. All right, let's make this last line and we'll get to sewing. Yes, one of these years, I'll get to go to a big quilt show. It would be nice if they weren't so darn expensive. All right, we got our HSTs ready. Move this out of the way. Turn on my iron. All right. Like I said, you need 3 of these per block for the trees. Um, all right. You know when you think you're ready, but you're not? It turns out that you're not ready. Okay. Now I got to do the other side of these. What was I thinking? Jeez. And I think I'm going to speed my machine up. She was running a bit slow. That's better. Last one. Pull these pins out because I don't need them anymore. Normally I would just take my scissors and cut them. I find that faster for some reason. But I do believe my scissors are still downstairs with my EPPs. So I'm just lining my ruler up right on that center line. And I'm going to use it as a cutting line. I don't trust myself. I left it attached. I know I would just cut on through. Here's that. One more. There's it. All right. Now I'm just going to scooch over here. Whoopsie. And press these so that I don't have to worry about it later. And I'm also going to trim the dog ears. I am loving my new iron that I got on Prime Day. I do have to say, though, that it is the most expensive iron that I have ever bought. But I love it. There's only two things that I have found that if I had to put it on a pros and cons list, there's only two things that I would put on the con. One is the black cord. I wish it was longer and that you could straighten it out more. You know, because it's curly. And then the other one is, along with the steam, I love the steam, but I have realized that it doesn't have the squirty, like if you want to, if you want to spritz your fabric with a little water, it doesn't have that. Yes, it has made a world of difference, I think. Nothing wrong with the cheap irons because I've used them my entire life. And that's what I had when I first started. But they kept breaking down. And so the one I got is the Rowenta Master Steam. Okay. Now I'm just going to take my handy dandy little thingy here and just go ahead and cut these dog ears off so that I don't have to worry about it later. You know, it's the big one that Rowenta makes with the big water tank. And it's really nice. I like it. I was gonna get the Oliso, but the last few times I have seen a couple of videos where people have accidentally dropped it, or like just dropped it from here and it landed on the wool mat and it broke, it shattered. And then there was one lady that it literally fell from her hand and shattered. And if it wasn't, the one lady never did get a refund. They said, sorry, your fault. So they didn't really stand behind their warranty, I guess. And the other lady, had it not been for Missouri Star and the fact that she posted this, that was the only reason why OSU came back and said that they were going to send her a new one. And with my MS and the fact that I drop things left and right, I figured that was not the iron for me. I've been thinking about, oh, I love Steam. I'm a Steamaholic. I love Steam. But I've been thinking about maybe possibly getting the mini Oliso, because I do need a new mini iron. And so I've been thinking about getting that. Again, I'm not sure. So we're going to do row 1. The first thing we have to do for row 1 is take our long rectangle. It is the longest that you have. And we have to make a flying geese. And I'm just going to quickly pin it in place because, well, I don't trust myself. And I'm going to use that center line that I creased with my iron as my stitch line. Okay. Then I'm going to flip it around. And because I am saving my HS, wait a minute, let me figure out what I'm doing here. Got to go this way. Yeah. So because I'm saving my HSTs, I'm just going to run an extra line of stitch. Okay. All right. And now I'm just going to check it to make sure it's good, and it is, before I cut. And then I'm going to line it up where I need it lined up, and I'm going to trim. And then I have a little teeny tiny HST left. I think I might trim just a smidge more off. There we go. And then I'm just going to finger press this for now. And then we are going to put the other piece on. And since I've got my ruler here, I might as well make my extra mark. And pin the bottom. Or clipped, whatever you like. I just happen to have pins here. Alright, so we're going to, again, use the center line that we have pressed with our iron. I look a little bit off, but that's okay. Oh, no. And then I'm going to go ahead and sew this extra one. Okay. Unpin. Alright. Just had to fix something right there. So, oh, got to check it, make sure it's good. We're good. And then I'm just going to line it up and cut. And there's my HST. And then I'm going to finger press, and then I will go ahead and press it real quick. Being as careful as I can not to stretch, but well, it is what it is. All right, so there's our center piece for our first row. And now we're just going to go ahead and sew row one up. So this goes on the center. All right, give me just a second. I got to pull up the rows because my brain does not work that way. Okay, there's one on that side. Now you're going to take one of the rectangle that you need for the row one is listed. You're going to take it and you're going to put one on each side. Except I don't know where my other rectangle is. So, but that's okay. Because I happen to have one right here. I don't know what happened to my other square. That bothers me. Because I know I cut it. But that's okay. I got fabric right here. And it's the only piece I'm missing. All right. So now we got our 2 rectangles. You're just going to put one on each side and sew. And then I will check the chat as soon as I'm done with this row. And I'm just going to flip it around and add the other one on. I believe this row and the last row with the trunk are the only 2 rows in the 5 rows that do not have a half the HSTs in them. All right. Let's iron it real quick. Looks good. Making sure all my seams are as flat as I can be. And if you are somebody that enjoys pressing open your seams, there's nothing wrong with doing that on this one. All right, we got row 2 ready. All right, thanks for coming by. So on row 3, we need 2 HSTs, 2 rectangles that are listed, and a tree color. Tree fabric goes in the center. The smaller length up. HST fabric side, or the green fabric down on both sides of your center square. And then you're simply going to place your background squares on each side of those. I have been playing around with trying to figure out how I could turn one of these gnomes into a girl gnome. And I have some rope. I will show y'all what I've come up with so far. And see what y'all think. I've seen the paper piece blocks for the girl gnomes. But I want a girl gnome block that has braids. And so far I've only come up with one, except for being paper piece, which I don't mind if it is, but I would rather it not be, just because the rest of this quilt isn't. I mean, if the whole quilt is paper piece, then I think it would be fine. But not 2 little sections of the quilt. But that's just my opinion. All right. One more piece. All right, let's trim off these little pieces of thread. And then we'll just finger pressing my seams real quick. Oops, my iron turned off. Turn it back on. Run across the seams real quick. Block 2 is done. Or row 2 is done, block. Silly me. Now, what I will do is I will go ahead and sew row 1 and 2 together. Maybe. Just lining it up. And it looks like I might have the same problem as I did last night, but we'll see. I need my snips. Let me grab my snips, guys. As soon as I find them. Huh. I don't know where my snips went. Quincy, if you're watching, could you have Jaden bring my snips up? There should be, or a pair of scissors. They should be in my bedroom. All right, so I need to take out the seam on this and center it better, is all. But we got that done. Now on to block 3. What video would it be if it wasn't chaotic with me? All right, we got a center block, HST, HST. And when you're putting your rows together, the HSTs are always facing the same way. And then a short piece and a short piece. And like I said, she had literally got it laid out with all the numbers and everything for you, each row. And when I put the one together last night, it went together perfectly. I think it's just something with me being online live. If she doesn't bring them up soon, I'll just send her a message to bring them. All right. One of these days, I'll have a video where I have everything and everything goes right. Okay. While we're here, we're just going to go ahead and press our seams. Oh, I better press that the other way. Not that it matters, but all right. Now we're going to add on our other piece and sew them together. Now we just have to sew these two sections together and row 3 is done. And before I press for the last time, I'm going to go ahead and cut these little pieces of threads off. Okay. And I've got one more seam to press. All right. I'm going to hit it with a bit of steam just to help make it lay a little flat. Maybe. And row 3 is done. Okay. Row 4. I am worried that oh my goodness. I put the wrong piece on. Oh well. That's okay. Center rectangle. All right. Apparently, nobody is answering me. And I can't continue because I put the wrong pieces on because I wasn't paying attention. So I put the side pieces here on the wrong set. And that is why row 2 is wrong too. They got mixed up. So I need to get my scissors. But that's okay. We'll fix it. So row 2 background squares that I have right now should be on row 2 or on row 3. Yeah. And I had them all, I guess when I laid them down, they got mixed up. But while we wait for that, we're going to wait for these. We're going to go ahead and do row 4 because I can do that. So you need your little square for your fabric. And what I did this time was I had some camo, I believe it's real tree fabric, fat quarters, and I took them and just did a little tiny bit of fussy cutting on the bark part of the tree, and that's what I'm using. And then our long rectangles, one on each side. Now, the sashing and the border are super easy. So it's literally you take each of your blocks, your gnome block. It goes gnome block, tree block, gnome block. And you're going to put your strips of fabric against them and then sew them together. And then you have you have a piece going this way. So you have a block on this side and a block on this side. And the same thing on the bottom. And then you have a center square. All right. So now I'm just going to press these real quick and we're going to figure something out about the other ones because nobody can find what I'm looking for and I don't have time to go down there myself. And I don't have time to text and tell them where it is. So this is what we're going to do. Just my block is just going to be a little bit short. I am just going to trim these off and go with it. It is what it is. I'm the one that made the mistake. And I really want to finish this so that I can show y'all how to put the borders on. So give me just a second and we'll continue. There's one piece. And there's the second piece. Pull my thread out. All right, here's row 2. We're going to lay that out. That's row 4. This is row 3. So for your row 2, you have your center square and HST on each side. You need a 3, or you need your triangle, your 2, you should have 2 background squares left over. And that goes on 1 on each end. Okay. Just trimming my threads because they bother me. And now I'm just pressing my seams. And because I trimmed that top piece off, it's a little short. But that's how it should look for row 2. So we'll put that there. Now it's fitting. See? All right. Row 3. Got to take these 2 pieces off. By the way, I was wrong. This is row 5. All right. Ah. I'm going to set that aside. And I am just going to cut this real quick. I'm not even going to mess with it. I'm just going to recut. That's why I always have extra fabric. I have no idea what happened to what happened when I had it all stacked together, but okay. Now let's put it together. I found them. It was just the end pieces that got mixed up. All right, there's our row 3. Let's press it. Row 1, row 2, row 3. Now they're lining up. We have one more row, and then it's done. So now that they're lining up, I am going to, and that was my mistake. I should have stopped when I realized they weren't lining up. And I kept going. So give me just a second. And it is literally nothing wrong with the way she wrote it. I just got it mixed up. I do want to stress that it is not the pattern, it's me. All right, let's put row 3 on. So the moral of the story is, if you're making a block and you're putting them together and it is not lining up, stop and check it, because it could be wrong, or it just may not, you know. Sometimes you can squeak those in, but there was no way I was squeaking all that in. And I should have known better from last night. So, all right. Let's make the last block, or last, let's make the last row. There we go. And then I'm going to check the chit chat. So far that's what we've got. Look how much better it looks. All right. We need to make one more row. I need these, this, and this. Okay. Add my background squares on here. And I'm just going to finger press this for now. Press. There's our row 4. Just going to do a quick press. And then we'll give it a good steam pressing. Now, because I haven't sandwiched this or anything like that, I'm going to go back after and trim all the extra threads off. It's a lot easier for me to do it with my scissors than it is. I gotta let my iron heat up a bit. All right, now let me give it a good steam pressing. Turn it on the other side. There we have it, guys. All right, so now we've got all 4 blocks. Let me put this on the thing. Now, The only other thing I need to do besides the border and the sashing is I have to go back and I have to stitch on the noses. So here's all 4 of our blocks. Okay. Oh, I got something in my eye. Okay, this is the border. These are the borders. And this is the sashing with this block. All right. So I'm going to unpin. Actually, I'm going to have this sit right here. And I'm going to unpin our gnome block and one of the tree blocks. All right. Ooh, I really got something in my eye. So first you have your gnome block. And you're going to take one of your strips. And you are going to sew it on the side of your gnome block. On the right side of your gnome block. Okay? And just for good measure, I'm going to put a couple of clips in. Okay? You're going to take another strip. And you're going to put this, just like we did with the gnome block, you're going to put it on the left side of your tree block and stitch it in. Like so. Okay. And while you're at it, you can go ahead. You're also going to take your other 2 blocks I was wrong. Please hold. You just need 1 piece of sashing between the first 2 blocks. So let's do that. You're going to sandwich it in between, or not in between, I'm sorry. Let's stitch let's start over, shall we? We have our sashing strip. We have it pinned to our gnome block. Let's stitch that on. And while we're at it, you're going to take your bottom Christmas tree block. You're going to take a sashing and you're going to do the same thing. Just gonna throw a couple of pins in. And you're going to want to do a quick press. Oops. I missed a piece. Okay. Take your gnome block with your sashing strip on it. Take the Christmas block that does not have any sashing on it and sew the two together. Do the same thing with the bottom ones. So now you're going to have this is what it should look like. This is row 1. Okay? Set that aside. Now you're going to do the same thing with your last gnome block. Okay? You're going to press it and set it aside. Now, you should have two sashing strips left and a square, maybe three. Please. Take your square and add it to the end of one of your strips, of one of your sashing strips. Like so. So you should have something that looks like this, okay? Take your last sashing strip. You should have three sashing strips left. Sorry, guys. No, I had it right. Take your last sashing strip. I'm doing this by a picture, so yeah. Oh, now I found the directions for it. Okay, yep, we got it right. I saw the fabric requirements for the sashing and the border, but I did not see the directions for that. All right, let's iron it. This is what it should look like. Now, I'm taking the bottom set of blocks and I'm going to sew it straight across the top of it. Let me pin it because it's really long. Okay. We're going to press that seam real quick. Now you take your top row and sew it to that. Nope, his nose fell off. All right. I need to grab him. I'll just pin it. So I've got to, like I said, I still got to stitch his nose, the noses on. And so I am just going to pin the nose that just fell off. There we go. My goodness, this is a big quilt. Okay. So this is what we should have now. And this is without borders. Okay. So I'm putting the top border on. But I have to stand up to do it because it's so darn big. I'm going to speed this up. Pin that here. Okay. Well, it ain't perfect, but it'll work. Now, I think it would be cute to do a different color border, but I just did the same color because that's what I had fabric for. I just got to fix this stitch here. So you're going to put your top and bottom border on and then your two side borders. Flip it over. I do want to say thanks for sticking around, and to those of you that are to rewatch it, thank you. And if you like it, please hit that like button and the subscribe button. And I think that I'm going to do quilting on it. I'm going to do snowflake since it's kind of Christmas. It's kind of a Christmassy one. And I think I'm going to stitch on some little decorations on the tree, you know. Ow. All right. It's wanting to shift, so I'm going to quickly pin in a couple of spots. So it will stop shifting. I'll pin right here. Then I'm going to go ahead and flip it around and do the other side, and then I'll press it all at once. And this is the last piece. It goes faster if the fabric doesn't shift. And with that, we're done. Let's press it. I have one little piece here I need to fix. the one side just didn't catch, so. Holy moly. No, I'm not pressing the seam allowance in any particular way. I'm just letting it go where it wants to go, and it's just pressing that way. Darn, there it is. I knew I missed a section. Don't know how, but I did. That's an easy fix. And I've got another small section, but we'll worry about that later. All right, guys, here it is. Now, this is a really easy quilt, as long as you stay organized and you don't lose pieces. And the stuff that went on tonight, that was strictly my fault. It had nothing to do with the pattern. So with that, guys, thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you next time. Bye.